It's time now for Countywide, a special presentation of Yavapai Broadcasting News. Join Paul David and Kyle Benedict as they talk with our community's leaders, newsmakers, and people in the know. You'll hear about the hot topics that affect all our lives in Yavapai County. And now here's today's Countywide.
Welcome to Countywide. I'm Paul David. Great to have you in studio with us today. We have someone brand spanking new to the area, Commander Jacqui MacConnell from the Camp Verde Marshal's Office. Welcome to studio.
Thank you very much.
And I was going to say welcome to the area, but you've been here for a little while already. So you're familiar.
Yes, I've been here about 2 years.
Yeah, so you've just been hiding under the radar there from us. But now you're the commander of the Camp Verde Marshal's Office, and we're going to get into that. We'll talk about that. First of all, the 928-554-8304 number, does that go right to you?
It does.
Okay.
Yes,
okay.
Thank you for putting that out.
Okay.
Yes. No,
Okay.
no, seriously, yes.
Yeah.
That goes straight to me. So if somebody wants to contact me, that is my phone number.
Okay, so that's 554-8304, and then the Camp Verde Marshal's Office can be found at campverde.az.gov.
Yes, and our Facebook page.
Facebook page.
Yes, remember to check our Facebook page.
Okay, because you were telling, prior to the show, Jacqui was talking to me about how we are going to, social media is going to become more prevalent at the Camp Verde Marshal's Office.
Yes, we are doing a push right now to make our social media presence much more apparent. We would like the community to come to our social media page to get information about what the Camp Verde Marshal's Office is doing, any crime trends. Right now we've got, and I'm sure we'll talk about it, the IRS scam out there. We put that out there to warn folks, you know, do not give out your personal information. So we want our page to be a place where our community can come and get information that is pertinent to the community. And some of that information is going to be the good stuff that our deputies are doing every day, because they do good stuff every day.
Exactly. Okay, perfect. Let's go back in time. Now, you've been up here for a couple of years, you said, but prior to that, you were with the Phoenix Police Department. How long were you there for? 20
years.
Okay, and what was that like for you?
I love Phoenix PD. It was actually very difficult for me to retire. I chose to retire in May of 2014 so that I could spend time with my then 1.5-year-old son. So I have been beyond blessed. I retired at the young age of 43, and I was able to spend the last just over a year and a half home with my son. And I loved my career with Phoenix PD. I cannot say enough about the Phoenix Police Department, the mentorship I had, the people that I worked for, the officers and employees that worked for me, the involvement and the relationship that we had with the community. I cannot say enough about my time with the Phoenix Police Department.
You must have seen quite a few changes. I mean, I bring law enforcement in here. Cottonwood Police Chief Jody Fanning was in recently. I didn't get to interview him, but just the changes that you see 20 years ago to today. What were some of the big changes you saw down just the Phoenix area?
Well, if you're talking about, you know, policing in general, you see the technology changes, right? So when I started in policing, I didn't even have a pager. You know, after I became a police officer, I got a pager, and you know, I wore it up here. And then eventually, you know, I got a cell phone. Now, understanding that technology also changes how policing happens, because when I started on the department again, we had computers in our car, but at that time they were called mobile data terminals, or MDTs.
Oh, wow.
And we couldn't get on that computer and do reports and do all the stuff that you can do now. We didn't have, you know, I was paying by minute for my cell phone. That's how it was back then. I'm sure you remember, right?
Yeah.
Well, there's advantages to technologies, but there's disadvantages also, because when I came on, I would go to Circle K. I would park my car in front of Circle K. I'd go inside and I'd call in my report. That's very good community interaction, right?
Sure, sure.
We had substations. Yes, we had substations throughout town where we'd go and we could call in reports, or we could have lunch. So again, your police car is being seen in the community. You're getting out of your car. You're interacting with people. Well, now, you know, a lot of the departments have, and it's great, the technology's great, but the drawback is I can sit in my car and I can do my report, or I can make all my phone calls on my cell phone. A lot of the substations went away because we didn't need them anymore. Some of those relationships with those places that we would go and we'd call in our reports, those relationships became more distant. And our on-foot presence in the community wasn't as great, because now you have this technology. So that is a big change. I can tell you that the Phoenix Police Department, since we're talking about my time there, has a fantastic relationship with the community. So although those technology changes kind of came in and maybe built a little bit of a barrier, Phoenix did other things to make sure that they were reaching out to the community.
So a little disconnect with the because I see that too. I bring it up every year when we talk about the Christmas shopping thing too, where you see people on their cell phones in the stores and stuff. Or now you're just at home on the computer. You really don't have to go out anymore to do things.
Yep.
Things have changed so much. I also noticed that each time I have a law enforcement officer come into the studio and sit down, you seem to be wearing more and more around your waist. And I noticed that there just seems to be a ton of stuff on you people.
Again, technological advances, right? Because you have all these less than lethal options that we can wear on our belt, which there are advantages to, and again, there are disadvantages to being able to do that, because it is a lot more to carry. We already carry a lot of weight between our ballistic vests, our gun belt. This is stuff that we're carrying every day. Therefore, a lot of law enforcement officers end up having like back problems.
I bet.
There are some very good belts out now that help distribute the weight of the gun belt, but I mean, it's a lot to wear. Usually by the time I put on all my stuff, and there are officers that wear a heck of a lot more than I do. I really don't wear that much on my belt. You're looking at an additional 20 pounds that you're carrying.
Gosh. Now, you were also undercover down in Phoenix. What was that like? That's got to be, for me, you see it on the TVs and the movies and stuff like that, and it looks like this pretty, awesome job, but I would think that's a pretty scary, pretty dangerous job.
Well, first of all, please understand, usually what you see on TV is nothing like what the real thing is, right? Usually they do not depict law enforcement as it usually is, the reality of law enforcement. But I can tell you my time working undercover, and this was a long time ago, as a detective, was probably some of my funnest times in my career, and it's probably some of the most stupid, because I was risking my life for a $20 crack rock, or heroin or meth or whatever it was I was out buying that day. So that in itself was not very smart, but it was a constant adrenaline rush for me, and it was some of my fondest memories.
How long did you do that for?
Just about 2 years.
Yeah. Then what happened? Why stopping? Why'd you stop doing that?
Well, when I was there, I did a lot of street buys. I went out and I bought narcotics, dangerous drugs. I did it just, one-on-one. And then I also did large conspiracy investigations, which means we were doing wiretap investigations.
Oh boy.
So listening in on people's phone calls and doing those much more larger scale busts. So that was a lot of fun. Truth be told, my boss and I at the time, who I actually get along very well with now, my boss at the time was kind of driving me a little nuts. And I just decided, it was time for me to do something else.
Okay.
And I'm very much a person that everything happens for a reason. So at that time, I ended up putting in for the tactical training detail. I had to test for that position. I was able to get there. And then that position, I was only there for just over a year, ended up being one of the best moves of my career.
Why is that?
Because in the tactical training detail, you're doing in-service training, and you're training all the officers on the Phoenix Police Department. So the contacts that I made and the people that I saw, and just getting my name out there. So the relationships that I was able to make during that year, and some of the things that I was able to do, some innovative training that I was able to bring to the department, it was one of the best years. It was one of the hardest years, because I like being on the street. I like being in the mix. I like being on the street. So being off the street was difficult for me. But the relationships that I created, the people that got to know my name, probably one of the best years for me in terms of my career and career advancement.
Let's take our first break, okay? You've
Already?
Been talking, yeah, I know.
Already?
I know.
Okay.
I know. You're really doing well over here.
All right.
Camp
first
Ready
break.
Marshals Commander Jacqui MacConnell in studio today. Her phone number 554-8304. This is Countywide. We'll be back in just a couple minutes.
You think getting dumped by text is harsh. Try getting dumped by a tennis ball. My ex-owner drove me out to the woods, yelled fetch, and by the time I brought the ball back, he was gone. Yeah, I was pissed. But the folks at the shelter helped me let go of my anger. I learned coping skills, like taking it to the hole. Boom! Now I'm ready to fetch again. But how about I throw and you run and get it?
The smallest moments can have the biggest impact on a child's life. Take time to be a dad today.
Marie, you have prediabetes.
Prediabetes? I don't have time to eat right or exercise. I'm a busy mom.
Oh, you're a busy mom.
Yeah.
This is great news. Busy moms never get prediabetes.
Wait, what?
Let me just... Yeah, this is all the people at risk for prediabetes, and way over here, busy moms. No?
Welcome back to Countywide. Camp Verde Marshals Commander Jacqui MacConnell in studio today. Her number 554-8304. You can also go to campverde.az.gov and check out the social media too, because that is really being ramped up as well. I'm going to have to do that as well.
Thank you.
Yeah,
yes.
To start checking on that on a regular basis. Okay, so you retire from Phoenix PD at the young age of 43.
Yes.
Got a son, raising him. You get to stay home for a while. Now you're back in law enforcement again. What happened?
I love law enforcement.
Okay.
I was out of it. Well, in the interim in that year, I was actually a reserve officer with the Cottonwood Police Department. So, I stayed in the mix a little bit. And I happened to meet Marshal Nancy Gardner, who heads up the Camp Verde Marshal's office. Mm-hmm. And I really liked her. I liked what she's done with the department. I liked her philosophies. I liked her leadership. And I'm one of those people, like I said, everything happens for a reason. And I kind of feel like I met her at the point that I did for a reason. And lo and behold, she had a commander position open. I tested for the position against other folks, and I got it.
It's been open for a while too, right?
It has been, but she's done several different testings during that time. And so during my testing process, I guess she must have liked me, because I'm there now, and I'm very happy to be there. And,
awesome.
And like I said, I think it happened for a reason, and I'm very pleased to be back in law enforcement. I am somebody who is very proud to wear the uniform. I love putting on this uniform. I am proud to be a police officer, and I missed policing, and I miss managing in policing, because that's what I am now, right? I'm a manager. I'm not that street cop per se. That's where my heart is, but I'm up in management, and I love management because I love trying to create ways for my folks to go out and do stuff. So, because that's part of what I do.
You've been there and you've gone up through those ranks, and you've turned out like so. So I'm sure you'd like to pass that on and help others do the same thing.
Absolutely.
Let's go back in time a little bit again. I didn't ask you this. What got you into law enforcement to begin with?
I was going to ASU, and I was majoring in criminal justice, big surprise. And my second to last semester, I had to do some ride-alongs with Phoenix PD. And I was doing an internship with Phoenix PD. So I went out and I did these 2 ride-alongs in the Maryvale precinct, and I did it with 2 officers that eventually I ended up, actually becoming friends with or knowing on the police department, and I just loved it. At the time, I was working at a law firm for Jean Roberts, and Jean was going to pay for me to go to law school if I'd go back and work for her. And so that was my original plan. So I had to go back and I had to tell Jean, I'm going to be a police officer.
I'm going to take a big pay cut and be a cop.
Yes. And that's what I did. I loved it. I applied for 2 police departments, Mesa and Phoenix. I wanted to go with Phoenix, but you just never know.
Sure.
And as luck had it, Phoenix made the phone call first, and that was really it. So it wasn't a lifelong dream. My dad has been in and out of kind of law enforcement positions, but for me it wasn't a lifelong dream. I was going to be an attorney. I did ride-alongs. I loved it. I have never looked back. I would not change things at all.
So what is a commander? What does a commander do?
Obviously, different departments, different titles, we're going to do different things, right? And understand that different departments have different titles. So in the Camp Verde Marshal's office, we don't have position of a lieutenant. A lot of smaller departments may not have a lieutenant's position. So,
okay, I didn't know this. Okay.
So in our department, and just like Cottonwood, it goes officer, sergeant, commander, and then chief or marshal. So the commander, I mean, I answer directly to the marshal, and I really try to help her carry out her vision, what she's looking to do with the department as a whole. I supervise patrol and investigations. I will help write grants. So I've got to get working on a grant that's going to be due before too long. So
Have you done that before? Because
I have.
That could be kind of tricky, I understand.
They can be tricky, and I'm not somebody who loves writing grants, but it's necessary so that we can bring in money and do extra things for the community, and again, bring resources to our employees or deputies so that they can go out then and do their job with better tools. So it's a variety of things, right? Ideally, when I'm at work, I'm listening to the radio. If something happens, I can go out on it. I'll go in and meet with my folks. This is just my third week, but my plan is to go out and work with all my officers, my deputies, my sergeants, because we do different shifts. So
kind of a one-on-one thing?
One-on-one, go ride with them, see what they're doing. I just want to make sure my employees know that I care about them and that I'm out there and that I know what they're doing.
You have to see what they're encountering too.
Yes, right? Absolutely.
Yeah.
Day shift, night shift, you come across different obstacles.
So you say folks. How many folks do you have underneath you right now?
So right now we have 19 total sworn on the Camp Verde Marshal's office, and that includes the marshal and I. We're allotted 21. So that being said, we're currently in the process of hiring and recruiting for deputies. It is a fantastic department. There are a lot of benefits to the Camp Verde Marshal's office. I think our benefit package is good. And the way we do our shifts in patrol is that they're 12-hour shifts, which sounds like a lot. It is. But it's almost like it's basically 2 on, 2 off, 2 on, and then I think it's like 3 off. But the way it works out is you get every other weekend off. And then right now, every 6 months, you switch from days to nights. So there's not a whole lot of departments you're going to go to as a brand new officer where you're going to get every other weekend off. And
there's
be
not
able to work
jobs
days.
You can go to where you get every weekend off.
This is true.
Yeah.
And so the way we're doing our shifts right now, you can come there as a brand new officer. You're driving. We've got good equipment. The marshals brought some great equipment to the department. You go out. You've got a good car. You've got really pretty updated technology, and you get to go out and you get to have fun as a police officer. Wearing a uniform, driving around in a cool car, talking to the public. It's a great job. So please, if you're out there and you're listening and you're interested in going into law enforcement, give us a call, put in for that deputy position. We also are in need of an animal control officer because we have animal control officers. So again, if you're out there and you have a love for animals, please apply for that. And then we always need, and any good department needs, good volunteers.
Camp Verde Marshal's office covers Camp Verde.
Yes.
Okay. YCSO has Rimrock, Beaver Creek, and the outlying communities.
So
there's joint work between the two of you.
So how it works is, as jurisdictions go, you have sheriff's departments. So here we have the Yavapai County Sheriff's Office. They have jurisdiction anywhere within Yavapai County. So they can come into Cottonwood, they can come into Camp Verde. They have jurisdiction anywhere, but because Cottonwood has a police department, because Camp Verde has a police department, their footprint in those communities is probably going to be less,
right,
because they're going to want to patrol those areas that are a little bit more rural, that don't have their own police departments.
Very rural. Yavapai County is huge.
Yes, it's very huge, and they have a very challenging job also. So that's kind of how that works. So a YCSO officer or deputy could come into Camp Verde and take action if they needed to. However, they're probably going to stay more in areas that don't have police departments, because the small towns that don't have a police department need law enforcement officers as well, obviously, need a presence. So their time usually, I think, is better spent in those jurisdictions, and I think that's kind of how it works.
That makes sense. Okay. Camp Verde Marshal's Commander Jacqui MacConnell in studio today. Her number 554-8304. This is Countywide. We'll be back in just a couple minutes.
Take a look under your bed. Find stuff under there? What about jobs? No? Now try your closet. Still no jobs? Just more stuff? Well, you really have both. See, stuff is defined as household articles considered as a group. Sometimes this stuff is no longer needed. Wait, no longer needed? That can't be right. Because remember those jobs you were looking for? Those are really needed. And they're the stuff inside your stuff. Our job is to unlock those jobs. And it starts when you donate your stuff to your local Goodwill. Here's how we do it. When you donate to Goodwill, we sell your stuff to provide job training for people right here in your community. So just by teaming up with Goodwill, you help create jobs. And isn't that worth parting with the leftover keytar from your 80s cover band? Goodwill. Donate stuff, create jobs.
Me and my boy Matt had it good. He had catnip that was off the hook. But one day, he brings a girl home, and she's allergic to cats. Every sneeze was a nail in my coffin. Now I'm in a shelter. It's decent, but they don't even have Wi-Fi.
Look at you. You're at the top of your game. You're unstoppable. Nothing can throw you off track. Wait, is that your car? Uh-oh. Yeah, I saw that coming. That will throw you off track. You're looking at around 10 grand in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates. Let's try this again. Smart move. Because buzz driving is drunk driving.
Welcome back to Countywide. Just a couple minutes left in the program. Camp Verde Marshals Commander Jacqui MacConnell on studio today. I'm sure you're going to hear more of her on the air when we need sound bites and stuff like that for stories. Are you going to be the
I
person
hope
I
so,
talk
and
to?
I'm hoping to hit you up for that quarterly show.
Right. And she wants to come in quarterly and talk about things going on in Camp Verde, so we'll be working on that as well. You founded a nonprofit with our last couple of minutes left in the show. Tell us about the nonprofit you founded.
Just real quick, the nonprofit is called Angels on Patrol, so angelsonpatrol.org, and it helps children and families that are identified by Phoenix, Tempe, Mesa, and Glendale police officers. And we also help, so it's crisis response, helping buy groceries, pay utilities. We also do enrichment activities and help fund enrichment activities for youth who otherwise would not be able to experience those activities. Mm-hmm. The important thing is everything that Angels on Patrol does is because a police officer took the time, and really it takes a very minimal amount of time, to reach out to us and say this family needs help or this kid wants to go to this enrichment activity and they can't afford it. So to date, we started helping people in mid-2010. To date, we've helped over 4,200 individuals.
Oh, wow.
And we continue to expand. Just this year, we expanded to Mesa and Glendale. We have been blessed. It's been a God thing from the minute I started it. I didn't know what I was doing, to now we have a full-time executive director, a part-time program manager, a board runs the organization. It's been a God thing from the get-go.
Mm-hmm. So it's working out really well. All right. We're out of time.
Already?
I know.
But it's been so much fun.
Good. I'm glad to hear that. Spread that out there, too.
It has been.
I'm always looking for people to come in and do the show, and you did a great job. Camp Verde Marshals Commander Jacqui MacConnell, welcome.
Thank you.
Good to talk to you. 554-8304 is the phone number. Don't forget the social media at the Camp Verde Marshals office will be ramping up as well. campverde.az.gov. That's countywide. We'll talk to you again next time.